What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Kickin with Kachi, where we highlight individuals that are really taking their industry by storm. And today, we have the honor, the pleasure, and the distinction of sitting down with legendary artist, painter. She does everything. She put art on every single thing. We're going to talk about it later. Delaney, the owner, proprietress of La Bruja's Art. Thank you so much for coming in and spending time with me and kicking it with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to just connect and talk about our shit.
Oh yeah, listen, man. This is Kickin with Kachi. I love to kick it, you know what I'm saying? I love to chill. I want to talk about everything, right? You're doing something that I feel like in this day and age is a very big aspect of showcasing our identity and showcasing our ancestral roots, showcasing our humanity, our origins, right? But before we get into those bigger picture things, I want to talk about what sort of prompted you, made you want to get into art. When was the first time that you really was like, oh wow, art is my thing, right? When did it become a passion of yours?
Okay, so art has been a part of my life since as long as I can remember, maybe like 4 or 5 years old. My mom has always exposed me to creating with my hands in any type of way, whether it was cutting and pasting and painting or finger painting or just anything that I can do with my hands. Because I feel like working with your hands is very healing. Working with your hands, you could learn a lot about yourself. You ground it with the work in front of you, and it's just you and the work and your thoughts. So yeah, creating for me throughout my whole life has kind of been on and off as I was growing older. It's always been present though. So starting in 2018, like I just got this urge to try to find my own style. But looking back at it now, I felt like I was just drawing and painting things. Things that I've seen, things that I feel like look pretty. So I just wanted to try to find like my knack, my niche. Like every artist has a style and it's always constantly changing as well. So 2018, like I just was like, yeah, eventually I'm going to start to share my art. Eventually I'm going to put this out there, but it's not the right time. I'm really big on moving on the right time, not rushing anything. So yeah, that's when I found out that like this is something that I really want to dive into. Like this is something I actually like. Like I remember my mom used to go to BMCC, she used to go to school. Yeah, so she used to bring me and my sister to the area, like the program where they have the students' children there, so they can take their classes. And I just remember vividly like having my own easel and the paper being bigger than me and just remembering all the colors of the paint. And it was just so vivid. Like as I think about it, I could still smell the paint.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just that vivid for me. So then I was just like, I feel so calm. Like I feel so happy when I'm doing this. Like I knew it was painting, but it was much deeper than that.
Right.
So yeah, and then like it was just up from there. In 2020, I decided to just come out of my shell and stop being so in my head. Like going into this, I thought people don't buy an art anymore.
Right.
So I was like, because I was not exposed to this type of audience or this crowd that I have built a community for myself right now. Like I just was not exposed to that. I wasn't around people that was like that. So I had to create that for myself. So what better way to do it than get out your comfort zone and put yourself out there? So I just took that leap of faith, and then like here we are. Like
and I would say like, it's interesting when I speak to people. It usually, because obviously you can talk about your professional life from like 2018, 2020, like when you're an adult and you think cognitively of like, okay, like this is something that I am passionate about to do a little bit more long-term, a little more seriously. But it always starts, as I've seen in your story, from when we're young, right? That when we don't have those preconceived notions of like, is anyone gonna like this art? Is anyone going to buy this art? Is this art going to sell? Is this art even looking good, right? It comes from a pure sort of just expression and self-expression in a way. So coming from the passion to profession, when did you make the switch or make that decision? You said 2020 just coming out of your show. What sort of things or what sort of tips and tricks, as they like to say, of the trade, did you have to learn to say, you know what, this is something I want to do professionally, I have to do XYZ, boom, 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 to really establish myself as an artiste, right? Not just a
Yeah.
person that does art, but an artiste, period.
Right. I think it was most of it just came from coming out of my shell and networking with people. That's how I knew that there was like a clear like distinction. There were differences in me just painting to paint like as a hobby or like an
Right,
interest. But when I'm in these spaces, when I'm in these pop-up shops and these markets and I'm like traveling for work, I know now that people view me as a businesswoman. Like
right,
this is what it is. Like this is my art. Yes, this is my passion. Like I do this to keep myself grounded. But this is also my career. So there
right.
is like a separate like I don't even know how to really describe it, but it's just like a certain feel when you're speaking business and then the art. But they both work in tangent with each other. So I feel like mostly it's really just networking with people. And then once I started getting in the groove of that, opportunities started to come to me to showcase it like in galleries and like even
Right, right.
traveling. Once again, like I said, like I think networking and building community is a really big part of that. So that was like a clear distinction.
And I would say like now getting into the niche aspect, right? Because there are different types of artists, right? Like myself, I'm a graphic designer. I like visual art. I love doing something on the computer. I love illustration as well. I love cartoons. And for you as well, like your artistry is everywhere, right? You have paintings, you got tote bags, you got ashtrays, you got all this stuff there. So obviously zeroing in on the paintings, how did you determine the niche right there? Because the subject matter you're talking about, femininity, right? The female reproduction system, life,
Yeah.
human experience, right? Even the female psyche, the female, the honestly, the divine feminine, right? And
Mm.
honestly speaking, right, I hate to say it, and I don't know why, but these are controversial art pieces, right?
Yeah, very taboo.
Unfortunately. So right. But it's weird how like we all come from a vagina, but it's the most hated, talked about topic in America. But we
Yeah,
ain't gotta get into all that,
yeah,
child.
yeah.
But
We
any
can though. We could get into it if you want to, cause
I
I'm
mean, hey,
down.
I'm with all the smoke. You know me, hey, you see the shirt. I'm
I,
all about the
I,
love. You know
I
what I'm
do.
saying? So, but
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It is crazy how, right, as a woman who is coming out, right? First the name, La Bruja,
yeah,
already has that negative connotation, even though it's so integral, so special to your culture of Dominica, right? So coming from there and then saying, you know what, affirming that and then also pushing it. And people's
right.
like, yo, this is me and this is what we're going to do. There was that also an intentional decision. What was the experience in making that decision saying, hey, I know
Yeah,
it may be get a little backlash from the conservatives, but this is what I
yeah,
have to do.
yeah. I just honestly like I just felt it as a calling. Like I just felt it in my spirit that it was right to do it
Hmm.
that way. Like in the midst of me deciding to share my art with people, I was figuring out the name and like my brand and how I'm even presenting myself on social media. I was so in my head on like I didn't even want people to know my name at
Right.
first. Like I was like, this is very vulnerable for me. I'm feeling a lot of feelings. Like
All right.
I gotta put this as a brand so people know that this is it. But then there's also me, Delaney. That is that. Like I am the founder of all of this. Like
Right.
I orchestrate everything that La Bruja's art is. So in the midst of me trying to find the name, I was like, should I call it Delaney's art? Like, nah, I don't want people to know my name unless they know me.
Right.
I don't want you to feel like you know me or
Well,
nothing.
shout out to the
But
audience because now they know your name, so they all know you now.
exactly. See, and that's the crazy part because when you asked me before, like Delaney or La Bruja, like I was like, nah, like I want to be addressed as me because
Right.
I need people to know now because I'm in that space of wanting people to see Delaney. Like La Bruja's art is La Bruja's art. That is
Right.
also me. But I am also source. I am also
Right.
human. I'm also like tired. Like I do things like I hustle just like how you do. I just don't present myself as like Delaney. So when I was trying to find the name, I was like, what can it sound like that just flows and it doesn't feel forced? It doesn't feel like it's not me. So I just stemmed what is my background, my roots, my lineage, and then also with what I do. It is La Bruja's art, but
Right.
La Bruja doesn't have to look like the taboo, like black magic, like this
Right.
very like
Right.
dark. I've had many people ask me like La Bruja, like, so you're a witch? Like, whoa, like I gotta move away. And it's always like a, not always, but some people embrace that because they see
Right.
that in themselves.
Right.
Those who don't really understand it question it, and I'm always there to provide that clarity. So like, yeah, finding La Bruja's art was just really just fate. And just even my logo, it's so funny because I'm looking at the sticker on my laptop now. Like, my logo is hand drawn by me as well, and it has the waning crescent moon
Right.
on it.
Yeah.
And around the time when I launched it, it was August 13th. And around that time when I was figuring everything out, the moon was in that phase.
Mm.
And I didn't even know it. So then I was like, okay, so now I know that there's magic in here. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I just do things. I feel like a lot of the time I'm just a vessel, and that's the magic. That is La Bruja's art right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like even as me, right, like as you probably understand as well, like coming into a space where the galleries, the clients, the commissions, right, we can get very pigeonholed as Dominican based artists, La Bruja, black artists, right, Nigerian, and thinking like that's all we can do.
Yeah.
And come and obviously the give and take of saying you're coming out as, something that's very integral to your culture, but then also saying I'm not just this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a major aspect of me, but you also enjoy like numerology, right? You also enjoy tattoos. You also enjoy maybe going out to eat, and like you said, tired and working with kids, right? All these other ideas and all these other motives that are you. So what I really want to speak to first is the divine femininity paintings, right? Because that was one of the paintings when I first saw you at the trap art event, I was like, this is beautiful, right? It's the woman laying down, and then you use I don't know if it was clay or something that you use to sort of show the vulva on the painting,
Yeah.
right? And so it becomes this multimedia piece. And like I said, for some reason, that's very jarring to people, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I mean, it's a body part, right? Like an arm, finger, leg. But it is a special one because life comes from it. But
Mm-hmm.
what talk to us about like niche, right? Creating art that speaks specifically to these topics and these ideas. Does that something that also intentional as you grow through your journey of saying, I'm not gonna copy anymore. I'm not just gonna do it for the people, but this is for you.
Yeah. I definitely found that the more I created just from the ideas that came from my subconscious and from my
Right.
dream, I just was like, okay, like there's a certain style that I keep seeing. There's certain color waves that I keep using, and I'm just gonna flow with that. Like at first, like I said, like I would just draw things, but then just time, like just
Right.
giving yourself time, not rushing, not wanting to like have your art style look like someone else's art style, because I'm a really firm believer that we're here to be our most authentic selves, and all of us together can be unique together. We don't have to
Right.
do the same thing, because what the fuck are we here to do? We're here all to
Right.
be different. So that's what I just started to like, think about, like, how am I going to approach this art in a way where it's me? Like when people see that, it's like, oh shit, like I seen that before. Like that's La
Right.
Bruja. Like that's La Bruja's, like the way that she blends, the way that she uses these colors and like how they bounce off of each other. And then, when it comes to like the divine femininity in my art, like it's just very in your face. And it's supposed to be like that because
Yeah.
you can't avoid it. You just can't. Like you come from that, like it's in nature, it's in everything that we do. And most of the time I don't do it like intentionally. Like I don't intend to like,
Right.
whoa,
Right.
like all in your face. It's
Right.
just something that just happens. So
Right.
yeah, the vulvas that you've seen, they are made out of terracotta air dry clay. And then the other painting that I was displaying, it was actually very vulnerable for me to do that because that's actually me. Like
Ah,
I'm the reference, I'm the muse. So not even just that, I allowed people to interact and touch it. So
right,
this is like it's a whole brand new era that I'm stepping in with my art. Like I'm making more things that are interactive that I'm so looking forward for you guys to see it. Like I'm excited just even thinking about it because I envision it. So
right,
yeah, it's a brand new space that I'm in right now. And I just like to do things that help me find that power in my confidence and also just in other people and like women
right,
as well. Because in the trap art event, like I came across these group of women. It was like three women. They weren't even from here. They were from Detroit. And they were looking at it and they were just like, wow, like this helps me embody my body even more.
right,
And
right,
it's so like it's so beautiful for me to hear that because that's the intention. That's the
right.
whole intention of it. So yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot, but I'm happy. I'm happy I'm sharing this with everyone.
I mean, to be honest, you go to the MoMA, you go to the Met, there's a bunch of dicks in your face. So
Right?
I don't think
Come
people
on.
should be upset that there's a couple of vulvas now floating around in the mainstream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yet, I was gonna speak also to the community, right, that you're building because as artists, we know the impact of our art. We know that we're telling not just our own stories, but the shared experiences that we have with people that look like us or have similar experiences and have similar upbringings as we do. And to hear that, like my next question was, how does it feel for the impact and building that community of not just women, but I'm a man and I was resonating with your work as well because, like not to say like just because I have sisters and a mom and a grandmother, of course, but then also I understand, right? Like the powers, the levels, the nuances of one, referencing yourself,
Yeah.
showcasing to the world, letting people touch them, but then under your control, right? In a space that you are controlling. And I think that's beautiful as well. So,
Thank,
but then
thank
now speaking to now that you feel this way now though, how does feel your first pop up when you're doing this and it's like, okay, I got a bunch of vaginas around me.
right.
What was the experience in coming to terms with really saying, you know what, this is my art, here it is.
So my experience with it really like just the way that people reacted
Right,
and like were accepting of it, like it just felt very liberating because I understand that this whole art world now is different. It's constantly
right,
changing. And I just felt like just very accepted and loved and just grateful. Like I'm forever grateful that my style
yeah,
specifically is resonating with, like you said, men and women because my intention, like I don't specifically create for women. Like a
right,
lot of people would look at my art and be like, oh, like she's a Dominican artist that paints for women. Like it's very girl power, like it's very
right,
strong.
right,
And I get that. I get it. Like I can do a lot more than that. So I'm also in the space of creating for everyone, but with men who recognize the femininity in them. That's
right,
what I also want to trigger as well because it doesn't have to have penises. It doesn't have to have like muscles and like very like broad like masculine features. I also want men to resonate like, yes, like it is okay. It's okay for you to gaze at it. It's all right.
right.
Like you don't have that like on you, but like the power of it. Like I want that to radiate off of these canvases, off of these pieces that I create. And yeah, once again, just grateful that everybody can connect to it. And the more that I take my time with my process and creating, the more my style will continuously change and everybody now would just feel connected to it. So I feel grateful.
No, that's beautiful. Like I said, like it's great. And
Yeah.
then coming from the canvas to now these interactive pieces, right? Like the tote bags, the ashtrays. When was the decision to start moving on into that realm? Because
Yeah.
painting and having vulva can have its own effect and its own chakra, but then that's I think a little more understandable than selling an ashtray that has a clitoris on
Yeah.
the top. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
making a
Yeah.
lot of risk here, but I'm loving it because I'm engaged as well. It's engaging me and I'm part of your community. So how
Yeah.
did then it come from decision like, you know what, this is great on a canvas. Now I want to work on other things.
Um, the process of that was just like I started off with totes, I started off with prints, and eventually I was just like, okay, I felt like I've already mastered how to design a toe, how to like have people attracted to that. Now I need to branch out. Like now it's
Right.
not just apparel. Now it's just like things. It's tangible things. Like it's just
Right.
tangible art. Like this is years later down the line. Like you're going to have a tangible art from Delaney, La Bruja,
Right.
that you met at this pop up. So I feel like that was around like I started to play with clay. It was like a Valentine's Day themed like incense holder thing that I was doing. It
Right.
was maybe 2 years ago or something. Yeah, or maybe
Yeah.
like last year. Um and then I didn't want it to do themed anymore. I just wanted to do what I felt like was right. So why not make it into vulvas? Why not make it into different shapes? Like, and it doesn't have to necessarily be vulvas. But yeah, I wanted to branch out to that so that people can feel what
Right.
I created with my own hands. Once again, the hands. Like I also have an infatuation just with hands, period. So the fact that people can hold it and like feel the intention, feel the power, feel the time and the energy, every brushstroke you can see on this
Right.
creation, like yeah, I wanted to just do something different and it's gonna continue to expand in that way.
And for a lot of people looking at this, right, they also are artists and trying to build their own selves and, getting to their own lane. So what sort of advice would you give to those people on, you know, building their business? Like what are you are Delaney's must know hows to building an art business? What are 5 things that you feel like people must know how or must learn how to do? I'm not gonna say know how because we don't know everything. So must
Right.
learn how to do.
Um, 5? Okay. Holy shit.
Because there's a whole lot. There's probably hundreds, but
Right. But to think of them now, okay, first, be you.
right,
It's very easy for us to look at someone else and be like, damn, why am I not on that track? Why am I not? How is this person like there and I'm not there? Like, be yourself. You will attract the right audience at the right time if you give yourself time,
right,
because patience is a virtue, right? So that's one, I would say. Two, be a student, be open to learning, because we may think we know everything, but
right,
once we have obtained a certain knowledge and a certain amount of information and you learn something else, it's like, damn, I really don't know about this type of,
right,
let me be open to that. I feel like well, me personally, Capricorn, like I can be very stubborn.
right,
So especially when it comes to like my passion, like if it's one way, there's that and that's that. Like I used to be
right,
very strict on that. I still am. It's a very good quality to have because it builds a strong sense of self. But you have to be open to the spontaneous parts of life and like learning new things that you didn't think that you would learn. That's another one. Three would have to be, oh, don't be so fucking hard on yourself.
Yo, I wish I had a
Oh,
funk flex bomb for that one. Oh my
right.
god.
Yo, don't be so hard on yourself. We are always in our heads. Always, always, always. Even when some like person outside of you views the work that you create as something that's like, wow, like we in our head always look at what's like wrong.
Right,
We go straight to what the fuck it could have been or should have been or
right,
would have been. And there's so many coulda, woulda, shouldas that you can do, but like, come on. Like
yeah,
you're gonna drive yourself nuts if you continue to do that. Um, and we're all learning. Like just be gentle. Just be chill. It's okay.
right.
Um, what was that? Three? Four? Um, mm, Oh, I would say communication. Communication plays a really big part in like starting or like learning how to start and everything. Not just communication with yourself, because I talk to myself a lot.
Yeah.
You got to be a little delusional.
Oh yeah, I would say all artists are crazy. What Kanye said, the best geniuses are crazy.
I love Kanye. First of all, like I just got to say it there. Like he's genius with
Oh yeah,
music. fucking amazing. Like you have to be on that level though. Like you have to be damn near delusional. You have to be
Right.
unhinged. You have to
Yeah.
be. um so communicating like with yourself, I think is very good for like affirmations wise, you know, communicating with people and learning that, you know, the intentions of like certain conversations can be different for different people.
Right.
um so that's another thing. I think the last thing would be that have very clear intentions as to why you're doing what you're doing. What is it for? Why are you creating this? What are you trying to build for yourself? What are you trying to continue for your lineage and your legacy and the name you're trying to build for yourself? The intentions of everything. I feel like you can't do anything without intention. Like building connections with people. Like our intention today is to have this sit down and to talk.
Right.
That's the intention so that we can put it out there and everything. So that would be my top five. There's a lot more, but those are the top five.
That's
Yeah.
great. And then, speaking to now advice, like what would you say was a highlight or something that you feel like going on this journey, you look back, wow, like that was
Mm.
amazing. Obviously, there's a lot of those points, but like speak to a highlight that really like is carrying with you. Because I feel like a lot of people, they, as you said, they get in their heads a lot. They're working, and they don't see themselves on the billboard or in the magazines or with the thousands of likes yet. But
Right.
there was something along the way that has been keeping them going anyway, right? So
Uh,
what is something that you hold dear to your heart, a memory that has been on this journey that has been like, wow, that was amazing. I want to feel that way again, or I want to feel like that way all the time.
I think for now, thus far, I feel like it would have to be the mural that I created outside on
Yeah.
Fulton Avenue here in Brooklyn, because just the way that it also came into fruition was crazy. Like not crazy, rather peculiar. Like
Right.
life works like that. So my that wall that I created that mural on is my godfather's business. So it's like a convenience
Wow.
store. Yeah. And when was it? So this was last year. So 2021, he asked me to do a mural. He was like, "Yeah, like I have the wall, like I have it for you, like let's do it." And I was like, "Okay," like, and then I would just like slowly say, "Okay," and then like drift apart because I would think I wasn't ready.
Right,
But
because it's
things,
literally the size of the wall, right? Yeah, it's
yeah,
daunting.
I would think I wasn't ready, but things don't come to you unless you're ready for it. It's really
Right.
just based on like how you're going to react to it, if you're going to accept it, if you're going to take on that challenge. So, literally a year later, the same month, 2022 now, he mentioned it again. And then that's when I was like, yeah, like show me it. Like a whole year later. And life really works like that. Life like allows you to reflect on where you were last year
Right.
to now, and like it's gonna come up again and be like, okay, like are you actually fucking ready for it? Like it's coming to you for a reason. So I looked at the wall and I was like, God damn, like this is humongous. Like I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna fucking do it.
Right.
And so that was a really big highlight for me, not only for that I took on that challenge, but I also am very vulnerable when I paint. I don't really like people looking at me, or used to. I used to not like people looking at me. But
Right.
I'm outside and people are living in this neighborhood, like people are coming into this store, they're gonna stop to see the art process of things and they're gonna want to talk to me while I'm creating, while I'm painting.
Right.
And it didn't necessarily like throw me off of my like flow. It just really reassured me that people are just that interested and that like invested in like what I'm creating. So that was a highlight because now I just feel like whatever fucking wall size
Right.
mural inquiry commission comes to me, like I could just take that on, like no problem.
Right. And it kind of cures that imposter syndrome a little bit when you
Yeah.
feel like things are too big, too daunting. Am I even really supposed to be here? Like, am I good enough to be here? And then you're there and people surprisingly like what you're doing. And you're like, oh, wait, okay,
Yeah.
there's a reason why I'm here. There's a reason why I was chosen for this spot. So I'm glad that that was your highlight because I feel like that speaks exactly to like what a lot of artists what a lot of just creatives or people, entrepreneurs just feel in general. Like they work so hard and then opportunity seems way too out of their scope, but
Yeah.
it came to them for a reason, right? It came to them because the universe either is prepping you to be ready for it or is saying, hey, like, this is your next step, right? This is the thing that's going to push you into probably not the billboards and the magazines or whatever have you. That all stuff is materialistic, that's worldly
Yeah.
stuff, but more about, like you're talking about, that assuredness of self, right? That self-confidence, that ability to say, yo, any wall, let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad that was your
Exactly.
highlight. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's a good highlight. I like that. So
Yeah.
now moving forward, right, and looking into the future, I know you said you have some things in the works. I don't know if there's anything you can show me. I love surprises. Hey, Kachi will be kicking it. You know, I don't sign NDAs. I don't hold no secrets. I just kick it. I hope that the
Yeah.
secrets come to me. So
Right.
I'll close my eyes.
Yes, please. With
If
a
you
little
go to
eye
show,
open.
right, if you want to show the audience, I won't look. But is there
Yeah.
anything that we should look forward to, or anything that we need to be on the lookout for? Summer's almost over, so for that fall winter season.
Mm. One thing I could say is expect the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
I always host annual pain and sips every August. I will be sharing that very soon. But just wait. Just wait. Surprise. Surprise. Yeah, I'm a person that you don't know me until you see what the fuck I'm like creating. Like
I don't
just
like
wait.
surprise. You know what's crazy? People be trying like, you want a surprise birthday? I don't like surprise birthday parties. If you throw me a surprise birthday party, you gotta tell me so I can help you plan it. I don't like
Nah,
surprises.
that's
But
funny.
but for you,
Yeah.
I'll be okay on the
Yes.
surprise.
It's
I'll be
always
okay.
worth it. I promise it's always worth it.
And just so you guys can see her art, because she doesn't show us her old art, so I'm gonna show you the art she's worked on already. You guys can check out this.
Yes, 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 yes. That's also on my hand too. It's a tattoo that I gave.
Wow. You know, I got one of my designs as a tattoo too on my wrist too. But you know, it's one of those things where it's is that your favorite painting? Is that why you got it tattooed?
That's thus far my favorite painting, and it was created in a very transitional stage in my life, and it's my protective fairy. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
no, that's fire. That's fire. So
Yeah.
Delaney, thank you so much. Like, it's been great really talking to you, and your energy is immaculate. It's real comforting, it's real serene. And I know that anyone that sees your art feels that same way too. Is what I felt when I first met you at Trap Art. That's why I wanted to reach out to you. So I'm glad to really sit here and give you your flowers formally, because even the short time that I got to know you, I know that you are making a positive impact for the well-being, the image of women, the image of femininity, the image of yourself, the image of your culture, right? And really just challenging the narrative. And that's the most beautiful thing about it.
Thank you. I receive. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that we've crossed paths and are continuing to establish this connection and just work with each other. And I'm thankful and grateful that you are doing with what you do as well. You deserve your flowers as well. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, actually, my therapist tells me I should start learning how to receive as well. Like, so I'll say thank you to the compliment. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely. You
Thank you.
deserve it.
And you guys, thank you for watching another amazing episode of Kickin with Kachi. You guys can hit up my homegirl Delaney at La Brujas Art. That's LABRUJASART, La Brujas Art, with the nice little logo that looks like this with the moon.
I know
You
that's
can hit
right.
her up for commissions for anything and everything, whether it be a painting, a tote bag, or mural. Make sure you hit her up, and you can check out her annual paint sips in August. Be on the lookout for the unexpected rest of the year soon to come as well. You can check out this interview at the DC Voice on Instagram and YouTube. Check out our past interviews, this interview, and updates for future interviews. Catch me on Instagram at Kosh.theanalyst on Instagram. Hit me up, and we out of here.
Thank you. Peace.
Thank you.